cover story? Well, we have with us our favorite guest, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, who's actually coming back to us after a seriously huge gap, Dr. Swamy. So
Not my fault.
Okay, we take note, and we have a lot to cover on in this short span of time. But I'm going to begin with your favorite topic, the Ram Mandir. It's coming up again. The Supreme Court is now putting cases on a fast track. But beach mein there is Sri Ravi Shankar has come in. What do you make of all this?
Well, he's not come in the middle. It's a parallel thing. The court cases will continue irrespective of what he does. But he could contribute to a consent order. That is, the parties in the dispute come together and say, yes, we are ready to accept this solution. If he's successful in that, it will be a huge contribution to Hindu-Muslim unity. And he should succeed, in my opinion, because we have now got practically most of the Muslim population keen to have this as a settlement.
There's a division between the Shias and the Sunnis.
One is the division between Shias and Sunnis. The women of Muslim community, they all say...
There is a gender division.
Gender division is also there. Then there are Khoras, Bojas, who say why we should get into it. Then amongst the Sunnis also there is Wahhabi flavor and non-Wahhabi flavor. But there is one stumbling block which I told Ravi Shankar when I spent about 5 days in his ashram recently, that the moderate Muslims are terrified of the extremist elements. And they are in the Muslim community, unlike the Hindu community, there is a much greater fear of being labelled as a person who has been paid for. So they think that if Sarkari Muslim, or he's taken money, or he's surrendered, he has betrayed the Qawm, that sort of thing. So there he runs into a problem, because I have had talks. Privately they all know that they say to me, your solution is excellent, which is in my opinion.
What is the Dr. Subramanian Swamy solution?
See, first let me tell you the basis so that you understand why the solution. I have a fundamental right to worship where my faith says Lord Rama was born. There is no dispute on that. There was a temple there before. There is no dispute on that because the archaeological surveyor has given a unanimous report. And there is also a commitment of the Narasimha Rao government that if there was a pre-existing temple, we will hand it over to the Hindus. Now, as far as the masjid is concerned, I have verified from scholars all over the world, Islamic scholars from all over the world. They say it is a place where Muslims gather for reading namaz and getting pravachans. But it is not a religious place. It is not a place which is immutable. Therefore, in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Turkey, even Pakistan, they very often for constructive purposes like building a new building or putting a road, especially in Turkey, they demolish a large number of masjids or give them an alternative site to build a masjid. So today where the Babri Masjid once stood, there is no nearby Muslim population. The Muslim population is now mostly, particularly the Shia Muslims whose masjid it was, are on the borders of Ayodhya and the next district, which is called the Ambedkar district. So the Shias are justifiably saying that there's no use building a masjid in the same area as the Ram temple because we have to go long distances for it. It's better to build it there, and we are ready for it. The Wahhabi Muslims, Sunni Muslims, who really don't have, don't have a claim because it is not a Sunni masjid. But still they have been there because nobody challenged their position, now it's being challenged. They regard this as a Hindu-Muslim fight. Although their prayer is based on property. Now, even
they
if
have no rights over.
And that is a lower right than a fundamental right. So the court, I had argued this matter on the very first day. I have a fundamental right. They have an ordinary property right. There is a clash over the same issue. Supreme Court in 5 judgments has said when fundamental right and ordinary right clash, fundamental right shall prevail. So I said there is no need to proceed, just don't even have to hear them. If you are convinced I have a fundamental right, which I'll argue, then the matter ends there. But the court said we'll hear you last, because it would have been too much upheaval if they said we don't have to hear the Muslim parties at all, because their propaganda would have been quite severe. Yeah. So their solution is build a masjid, but elsewhere, and let the Hindus build Ram Lala temple. It's not just Ram temple. It's Ram Lala temple. He was only born at one place.
Correct.
So there's no other place.
There have been attempts in the past, and you've been closely associated with both the governments. I'm talking Narasimha Rao and Chandrasekhar.
Yes.
What happened during that time? Because Sharad Pawar is now coming up with some formula.
Sharad Pawar is just, I mean, there's nothing in the white paper which refers to this. He says this now.
But for the record, what he's saying is that 60-40...
I know, 60-40, no, I have no idea. I'll tell you, I was law minister, besides, of course, being commerce minister. Chandrasekhar told me first that the Babri Masjid Action Committee chairman is Shahabuddin, he's your dear friend. Why don't you two talk it out and come with a solution? So I talked to Shahabuddin, and I must say to his credit, even though he's perceived as a fanatic, this, that, etc., he told me, if you can prove that there was an existing temple, I myself will go and demolish the Babri Masjid. And we couldn't prove it during the time Chandrasekhar was Prime Minister, because the government fell
soon after.
But the subsequent government of Narasimha Rao accepted to have this matter examined, because they gave an affidavit saying if there was a pre-existing temple, then we will hand it over to Hindu. So Supreme Court said, get this looked at. They told Allahabad High Court. So Allahabad High Court asked the Archaeological Survey of India. They appointed two people, Bibi Lal and K.K. Muhammad, both well-known archaeologists. And they did a thorough job. And they said, yes, there was a
birthplace.
There's still a temple under where the masjid stood, a temple ruins, but there was a temple. Okay. And that was a Vaishnav temple. So the matter is, strictly speaking, over.
All but the last word which you have to have in the court.
Yes, that's right. We need the stamp of the court.
One more thing is when between Chandrasekhar and Narasimha, there was Rajiv Gandhi also. You were very close to Rajiv.
Yeah,
did you take this matter? What did Rajiv do anything on the Ram?
We would never have had a Ram movement but for Rajiv Gandhi. He did two things against his own party advice. And I'm eyewitness to this. And I shall always regard him as a great man because of that. First is, for whatever reason, he ordered the keys, the locks to be removed. So what was inside under a cage now became a temple. So in fact the Babri Masjid was converted into a temple because puja started. All right. Second thing he did, he allowed Shilanyas of the VHP. And I would say a third thing which was very crucial in mind makeup, he, against advice of everybody, allowed Doordarshan to show a serial on Ramayana.
That actually stirred the national conscience.
Yes, absolutely. So if I would not, I wouldn't feel bad if somebody said Rajiv Gandhi is the true author of the Ram movement, original author. We have written what is called as commentaries on it, but his contribution was very valuable. And he had told me personally that I think this is something I would like to do, because I feel that this should be done. And he, in fact, his first speech in elections of 1989 was from Faizabad.
He kicked off his campaign from there.
And what did he say? I believe in Ram Rajya. He said in his speech. Sad that these rascals, the LTT, killed him. He would have been a great second-term Prime Minister.
Yes, a lot of people are saying Rajiv in his 2.0 would have been
the best. It would have been superb, because I had moved with him into this lowest point.
You've seen him.
And I used to see him practically every day, 2 a.m. in the morning. I used to get a lot of chocolates, put on a lot of weight as a consequence.
But moving on from chocolates and Rajiv to the current Congress, we've seen Rahul Gandhi, he's now started visiting a lot of temples. He kicks off whether in UP or in Gujarat. Yeah. You all call it temple tourism. But what do you make out? Are they rethinking their policy?
Yes, there is a strong school which has also spoken to me informally when we meet in Central Hall of Parliament or elsewhere, which thinks that you can't combat BJP on Hindutva unless you bring an alternative version of Hindutva.
Okay.
It's like the old days when parties were afraid to challenge Congress on socialism. So they brought different varieties of socialism to combat the Congress. The present mood is that Congress cannot revive, but there are two problems with it. Congress cannot advocate Hindutva with both Rajiv and Sonia because they don't know the idiom of Hindutva.
Rahul and Sonia, you mean?
Rahul and sorry, not Rajiv, Rahul and Sonia, because they don't know the idiom, nor does that sister of his. So they won't be able to, relate to the masses of India, Hindu masses of India. So that's their disadvantage. They'll have to find a Swadeshi leader, then Congress can revive.
Can you suggest any Swadeshi leader for them to do? Digvijay Singh is doing his
He is not Swadeshi.
yatra.
He is completely, it's like Kamala Hassan or Mani Shankar. They may have Hindu names, but people regard them as slaves of the Muslims.
Which is very interesting. Also, Indira Gandhi, she was very strong, she believed in Hinduism. She's always also surrounded by a lot of Shankaracharya. She even did all the rituals that are needed. So, where do you see the Congress suddenly changing to appeasement of Muslims? Can you trace the...
Oh no, see, their theory was very sound till we came into the picture. That is, we means RSS.
Okay.
That is, divide the Hindus, because the Hindus are 80%. Divide them on caste basis, regional basis, language basis, fan that. They did fan it. And unite the minorities. Now, RSS has done just practically the opposite without saying so. They have united the Hindus, and now the Indres and others, we are dividing the minorities. And you see, this move by the Prime Minister on triple talaq was a master move. I mean, you don't understand the sophisticated quality of that move, gender equality,
Yeah.
but he has divided the Muslims. The women will continue to vote for us for a long time because they want more reforms now, inheritance, this time, so. So, this is the Congress had that strategy, it worked a long time. But now we have made it irrelevant. The Hindus have got united because they overdid it. Like Manmohan Singh saying that Muslims have first charge,
Yes,
then
first.
this Hindu terror. This Hindu terror has done a lot of damage to Congress. You see, because it was all bogus, everybody knew it was bogus.
A lot of people are saying it's also being raised apart from the Supreme Court deliberations. We saw Yogi Adityanath do that puja, elaborate puja. Then Prime Minister himself has been raising this issue because of Gujarat polls.
No, not at all. First of all, let me tell you, if I had not entered the picture, this would have been lying dormant for another 20 years. You know how many years Allahabad took? 16 years. This was lying without even a single hearing for 7.5 years. And the only reason it was revived is when I went in by saying, these are people are fighting for property, I am not for property. I am for my fundamental rights. And there has to be urgency for that. Then the court decided, we will make you a party in the main matter. And you argue this matter there. So that's how it has come up. So there was no pre-planned. I don't think that at any stage, because I had been writing letters to Amit Shah from day one, that this is in our manifesto, we must take steps, let's have a meeting for it. But I don't think they had any plan that this should be taken up before the elections. It's because of my intervention and getting it listed and getting the full support of Ashok Singhal, who before his death actually appointed me as his successor in this matter. In a public press conference, it's not privately told me. He called a press conference in their office in North Avenue and said so. So as a mark of my attachment to him and respect for him, I took it up seriously. So now it has become necessary. I mean, it's become, and Adityanath, of course, sincere man, but his contribution to the legal part of it is zero.
Adityanath, he's playing to the optics,
Yeah, but it is from his heart. It's not, there's nothing fraudulent about it. It's all genuine.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but after the break, I'm going to come and ask you about the Gujarat elections. Where do you see it going, or will it be a polarized election? And also about Aadhaar. So stay with us. cover story. We are in conversation with Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Dr. Swamy, before the break, we were talking about the Ram Mandir movement and what the impact it would have on Gujarat elections. Say Yogi Adityanath going and campaigning in Gujarat, there is a fear that this will become divided amongst Hindu-Muslim lines because Gujarat also has a share of Hindus.
Yes, when they go to the polling booth, it will be in the minds of the Gujaratis. Yes, Modi has brought this GST and made our life miserable. But these fellows, they are not Hindus. And the same old situation of previous, before the Gujarat riots, there were riots every 3 months in Gujarat. And Baroda, which has not seen riots for the last 20 years, used to see every third week a riot, Baroda. So the fact is that the Hindu assertion is always been latent with Sardar Patel. Even Mahatma Gandhi used to talk about Ram Rajya and all that. And it is a historically Hindu-minded Swami Dayanand Saraswati of the Arya Samaj. He is also from Gujarat. So they will go to the booth and like in UP, they will vote for Hindutva. So Hindutva will wipe out all the negatives of
GST because we are told the traders are very unhappy.
They are unhappy, but I know traders are one of the most Hindutva elements in Gujarat, by the way. So they will have this. They are still. That's why you don't see a very clear picture. Even their media's got confused. See, they are giving galis left and right.
They are. That is what is making us
and
wonder.
Probably it would be wise for Modi to find some meat to hang out for them. Somebody's meat to hang out.
I think I know where that conversation is going, so we will.
Okay, so stop it.
Stop it. But do you think there will be some fall guy for this GST or something? Because
well, in a democracy, there should be those responsible must accept responsibility. That I leave to the wisdom of the Prime Minister. He is, after all, captain of the ship.
and the wisdom of our viewers who I think know where this.
So I can only tell him, but ultimately, whatever he decides is acceptable to me.
No, but interestingly, the whole GST, there has been a lot of rethink. We are told that,
Yeah, it's
working
GST.
fast here because have they realized they shouldn't have done it before Gujarat?
I had told the Prime Minister, don't do it before
2019.
Yeah, because the computer program, I've been completely vindicated. 1,400 crores was given
The GST and network.
to the Infosys. On the 1st of July, they came and gave a letter that we cannot produce the... Now we have another scandal, which is that all the money that has been collected so far has been deposited in HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, and they are not able to distribute it. There is no computer program to the states. They have to distribute states, no, because they are all been collected by the center.
Correct.
So the states have to get their
GST.
share, but they can't. So these two banks are enjoying huge amount of profits by lending out for 10 days, 20 days this money. So there are a lot of problems, and I knew these problems. But it's always very difficult to be the contrary person when there is a mob euphoria about something. But I did say it, and some of the things the Prime Minister addressed, the security clearance aspect of GSTN, which has still not come through, and the other one was the CAG. But now it's no more one tax, one place.
It's 6 lakhs.
Many taxes and many places.
In fact, we had an informal interaction with your BJP leaders on Diwali, and we asked them that why have GST so soon after demonetization and so soon before Gujarat polls? And they said, "Bhai, UP ke pehle to demonetization hua tha, we won that, so don't worry."
No, there's a point there that the voting on Hindutva can swamp all this out.
Same logic applies here.
And more so. Gujarat is much more infected by Hindutva.
And as long as you're playing loyal party
I've always been loyal party. I've done more for the party than anybody else. Every day I'm on the move somewhere addressing for the party.
And
But that doesn't mean I'm a dummy.
And you're most effective, I think.
Yes, look at the crowds
fields
that
are
are
the court
coming.
cases.
Look at the crowds that are coming. All polls are saying that my popularity is going up by leaps and bounds. The Twitter itself, it is,
As-
only the other day I saw it was 5 million. Now I find it has now become 5.5 million.
So is the party appreciating all this?
It doesn't really matter because you see, I'm fighting for an ideology, and those ideologically, for instance, I see it in the workers. They are so pleased when they see me. They come in large numbers here. It doesn't really matter whether the party formally. For instance, recently they have been saying that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are on bail. It is I who brought them on bail.
Which is why we are told they may not, his party president elevation has been delayed. We are
Yes,
told they're
yes.
thinking about it. One section is saying don't do it.
No,
if
it
he's
will
on
be,
bail.
next time his coronation will have to be inside Tihar jail because there's no reversal in that.
You're-
Yeah, I'm sure about that. It's an open shut case. It's all on documents. They are opposing documents. It's only a matter of time now.
So what happened in the
But-
Shashi Tharoor case then?
Shashi Tharoor, so let me go to take further action and then I'll tell
So
you.
there is more on that front.
Oh yeah, there is something. It's not an ordinary decision. See, let me just tell this much. When I filed it, the court decided that instead of admitting it, they'll bring it to a conclusion. Because if they admit it, then they have to give formality of notices, then affidavits, counter affidavits. It'll take time. They said for fast tracking, we will hear the whole matter and decide. And we are only interested in one matter, and that is Delhi police timeline for filing this final report. So 6 sittings were there, 6 judge orders were given, and it was all focused on that. Not what I said, whether I made this accusation, that accusation. So on that day, the Delhi police status report was to be considered. But the magistrate failed to consider that. He started asking me. I said, okay, if you want proof on whether Mr. Shashi Tharoor is using influence or not, you give me time, I'll file a counter affidavit. All judgments of the Supreme Court say you have to give time. But the judge said, no, I won't give you time.
You have proof of him using influence.
Who, he?
Shashi
Of course
Tharoor.
I have. He has written an email sitting in All India Medical Institute to various people. I've got all that. I was going to lead that first time. So that time the earlier bench said, no, we won't get into all this. We'll just make the Delhi police do its job. So that's why. If he had given me time, I would have produced it. Maybe he knew it, I don't know. But the fact is the judge was unfair in not giving me an opportunity to file an additional affidavit and satisfy himself that I have proof. Then he asked me, why you have not mentioned your BJP? Now this is in the public domain that I am BJP. I did mention I am a member of parliament. And there had been cabinet minister, etc. But I didn't mention it because it is well known in law that what is in the public domain, you don't have to put it in an affidavit. I mean, I can't put an affidavit that I am BJP, you see. So there were many things. I'd rather not say anything much more now because I am not going to let it go like that. You know me.
Yes. And we know there are a lot more interviews on this waiting to happen.
I give as good as I get.
Understood. Last question before we end. On Aadhaar, you have expressed some concerns. You've written a letter to the Prime Minister also. Have you heard from him?
I get an acknowledgement, but I know that he acts on it. What he's going to do, I don't know. But there are 2 issues. One is the privacy issue, which the court is considering. And the other is that the software is being produced by private parties one of them was blacklisted. They are both foreign, all foreign. Now, when a foreign power, because the foreign company means foreign government will get it also, is able to get all about every citizen a computer-based data, then identity fraud is very easy, and that's very dangerous in a terrorist-prone world. You see, tomorrow somebody with name Subramanian Swamy might go and blow off some big building, and I'll have to go on explaining that I'm not Subramanian Swamy. So there are lots of dangers. I've pointed it out. Now there's nothing further for me to say because the court is seized of the matter.
Yes.
And the very competent lawyers are already there. So I don't have to go and implead and all that. I've told where it matters. I've told the Prime Minister. And now it's for the Prime Minister to take the call.
Okay. On that note, thank you so much for talking to us, and we hope to catch you again soon.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sooner than before.
Sooner rather than later, no more long gaps. Thank you for watching this show. We'll see you again same time next week.